Okay, so this is Unit 1, Awareness of Employment in the Creative Media Sector, Part 1.2, which means I'm going to do the rest of the Part 1, as well as, nope, just one. Okay, so I've covered 1.1 in the last video. In this video, I'm going to describe the key legal and taxation differences between main types of employment status. Once again, this accompanies a doc which I will be referring to, which also will be uploaded with the video onto one file. Okay, so from what I researched and stuff I already know, anyone who lives in the UK is required by law to pay tax. It doesn't matter if you are a UK resident or a non-UK resident. You still have to pay tax. If you are a UK resident, you have to pay tax on all of your income, including work that you might get outside the UK. However, if you are a non-resident of the UK, you only get taxed on your UK income, UK-based income, so anything you get from the UK. Usually for full-time, part-time apprentices, maybe fixed term, we'll see. You will pay the employer even will pay national insurance and tax that will come out of the wages. That will be part of pay as you earn, which is PAYE. So it will just automatically come out, so it's already paid, so the employee doesn't have to worry about it. So income tax is a tax used to contribute to the government, so public services, so the police force, education, travel, so that covers that. Depending on what you earn, so for example, this is an apprenticeship example because I'm an apprentice. I didn't earn £11,000 before I started, so I didn't get taxed. So for your first £11,000 income, you don't get taxed. Anything from 11,001 to 43,000, it's a 20% tax. Then 43,001 to 150,000 is 40%, and anything above 150,000 is a 45% tax charge. Okay, so going into the more detailed, full-time employees, part-time employees, fixed term and apprenticeships have their taxes handled for them, like I said earlier, whereas freelancers, contractors and consultants have to deal with taxes on their own. So they should know how to do this before they go into self-employment. So I've got here the freelancing sole traders. So they pay income tax, they pay class 2 national insurance, which is £2.70 a week, depending on how much they earn. So if they earn anything under £5,725, then they don't pay. But if they earn more than that, it's £2.70 a week. And class 4 national insurance on any profit that's over £7,755, so they pay 9%, which is then up to £7,755 to £41,450. They pay 9%, and then after they've earned £41,450, I have described this completely wrong. Anything over £7,755 is 9%. When they get to £41,450, it's then 2%. Anything over that is 2%. So freelancing, so that was freelancing sole traders. Freelancing limited companies pay corporation tax, income tax, national insurance, VAT if the company is VAT registered, and tax on dividends. I don't know how to say that word. I'm not going to lie. For unpaid workers and volunteers, they don't usually have to pay tax, but when they are unpaid, it means they're not getting any money. So the government might pay for the travel expenses and the living expenses, but they can only pay a certain amount. Otherwise, that becomes national living allowance, and then they have to tax that, which then would be tax bracket. So usually it's something like 45p. Next thing I'm going to explain is the main implications of each employment status in relation to job security, flexibility, and working practice. Okay, so full-time employment and part-time employment, and apprentices, and not really fixed term, but so full-time, part-time, and apprentices usually have the strongest job security. So that means you can't full-time, you have your job until you get let go or you get made redundant, or so that would only be let go if you haven't stuck to your contract, or redundant if the company is making redundant. That's the only real reason you can be let go of the company, and that's your job security be at risk. Flexibility in terms of full-time employment and part-time employment, it depends. It depends how the word flexibility is portrayed. Work hours obviously can't really be that much negotiated for full-time. As long as they're working the minimum 35 hours, technically the employer might decide, I want you to work on these days. It would have to be stated in the contract or a written agreement between the employer and the employee. With part-time, it can be more negotiable, so it's more flexible. So they can say, oh, I want to work this time this day, and then this time next day, and it depends. Obviously, they have to have a contract or a written agreement, but it's more flexible. They can more choose where they want to work. So, for example, some of our team work 9:30 to 2:30. That's because they're part time, because they have children or there's something going on. So there's also overtime. Full-time members of staff, they will, and part-time, they can be given overtime to help out during busy periods. Obviously, they don't have to accept this, but they can still be given that, which could make their flexibility less flexible, and working patterns might change. Usually full-time employment is 9 to 5, whereas part-time can range. It can be 5 to 7, it can be 6 to 8, it can be 7 to 12, it can be whatever. That can be in the morning and at night. Obviously, annual leave, full-time and part-time, and apprenticeships are all employment is really liable for, they have to have annual leave. It depends how much annual leave, and obviously if you out of nowhere decide tomorrow I'm taking a holiday day, your employee can say no. They have the right to deny it if it hasn't given enough knowledge in advance. Then the employer will then have to rearrange the annual leave, because obviously that's what they get from their benefits. An employer also may include bank holidays in their annual leave. Like for apprentices, occasionally apprentices have 28 days, but the employee may include the bank holidays and public holidays in that, so apprentices then only have 20 days. Apprenticeships don't differ that much, but they can differ. They still get sick pay, same job security unless made redundant or gone through legal route to end the apprenticeship early. Apprenticeships might be, see, this is what I mean by in terms of what flexibility means, because in the workplace, if you're a full-time member of staff, you're given a task and you do that. Whereas apprentices, because they're students and they're learning on the job, they might be given different tasks and be able to choose the tasks. Obviously, not by a lot, they don't get to choose all of it, but they can be given an option. Would you rather do graphic design today, or would you rather film something today? Contract employments aren't as strong as job security, don't have as strong job security, because obviously when that contract's ended, they haven't got a job. Unless they have one lined up, they don't have anything to go into, and they don't definitely have pay for next month. So they are in control of their own job security, really, because they need to find more contracted work. The employees are also treated quite similarly to full-time and part-time, which I've mentioned. They get the same benefits, they get the same annual leave, they get the same sick pay, maternity leave, paternity leave, adoption leave. Flexibility will depend, work hours will depend on the employer, which is different from freelancing or being self-employed. So everything will then, even though in between contracts is free, contractors can do what they want, but when they are in that contract, they then all their flexibility, all their working patterns are then chosen by the employer, so they can be working 8-hour days, 6-hour days, 4-hour days. It's all up to the discretion of the employer. This obviously needs to be agreed with the employee and the employer in a written agreement. And finally, freelancing and self-employed workers, they can have job security if they definitely have work given to them, and they've looked for work and they have projects lined up. But obviously, if they just started out, don't really have a lot of experience, don't have a lot of projects, don't have a portfolio, they might find it difficult to then keep projects coming in. So that could really affect their job security. So they could have a job, not have one, and then they won't be able to find work, which then obviously they can't pay what they need to pay for. Otherwise, if they do have that lined up, the job security is really good. They can stop whenever they want, they can continue. It's up to them. Working patterns depend on them. They can decide whether they're working one day, they're taking holiday whenever. As long as they have managed the project well, their working patterns can be whatever they like, as well as the flexibility depending on when they work, which is something, it's a benefit of being a freelancer, because if you like the flexibility of choosing when you work, what days you work, what days you don't work, that's a benefit. And obviously, annual leave is up to them. That is all for 1.12 and 3. Just check. Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. Okay.